Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we have the Thompson Middle School soccer players with us, the girls soccer players with us. And we are very pleased to have plaques here. They're both the Tournament of Champions Small Division and the Season Champions Girls Soccer Team from the small school. Isn't that fabulous? And we also have individual certificates to hand out to everybody. So if you'll all the soccer players come up here because we want to get a nice picture after. And I am going to be handing out certificates. I can get around to the other edge of the table here. I'm on the wrong end of the table. I can't get it. All right, we have Madison Perry. You come up and get your certificate, please.
I was gonna say, just come right around.
Watch the cord, though.
Okay, this is an achievement for outstanding girls soccer season at Thompson Middle School. Okay, so that's what they all say. They all say that. Laura Reynolds, are you here? Why don't you get it? Wonderful. Sophia Huss. Congratulations. Amelia Hutchigan? Yeah. Lily Kimball? Lucy Miller?
She's not here.
She's not here? Okay, well, we'll get her to her. Danica Minarik? I know you're here. Riley Parkin? Congratulations. Gracie Green? Good as her. Evelyn Dos Santos?
Not here.
Emma Dodd?
Not here.
Here, oh, come on. Hazel Clavitt?
Not here.
Olivia Cabral? There you go. Congratulations. Peyton Butler?
Not here.
Addison Boynton?
Not here.
This is such a big evening, huh? Ashley Bodrow. Yay, congratulations.
There you are.
Yay, congratulations. Shyla Beckett. Congratulations. Sandra Beckett. Kylie Odette. And Jordan
Aponte.
Aponte. Okay. And Coach Brooks. No, certificate for you, but congratulations. You were here.
Hazel, you have tape. Come here. Like,
Hold those over.
Hazel.
They're going on the wall.
Girls and coach, just a wonderful season. Thank you so much for bringing the thrills and the wonderful season to Thompson. So let's take a nice picture so we can get this on Facebook.
Riley, join me. All the little guys up front, everybody's face kind of offset, so we can get everybody's face in the picture. Congratulations, girls. I mean, you did a fabulous job and made the school proud. Congratulations.
Hey, good job.
Good job.
Nice job, Coach.
Kathleen, that hasn't been done since the 90s.
Wow. Before my time.
Just on the end of mine.
Feel free to come home and do your homework.
Good night,
Wait, I thought the
everybody, and
certificate was a
thank you
homework.
so much.
That's right.
Don't forget to fill out the survey.
Too soon, Tom, too soon. But good marketing.
Okay, next we're gonna do the chair update. And first, I'd like to send some good thoughts and some healing thoughts and prayers to Roy Bradford, a member of our security team and his family. And as you may know, Roy suffered a stroke this weekend and is recovering well, but he still is in some danger. We wish him well, and we hope he makes a full recovery. Secondly, I'd like to officially welcome to our new board members, Kristen and Justin, right, to the table. And you now have nameplates and everything. So I hope the cave orientation you attended was informative for you, and I know you learned a lot. I am confident that you both will be positive additions to our group. You join us just in time for our busiest time of year, the budget season. And I'm looking forward to your input into our budget sessions. That's all I have to say. Next on the agenda is the Board of Education nominations. I will open the floor for nominations. Danielle.
I would like to nominate Kathleen Herbert for chairperson.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Bill Wachowski.
Second to that,
I'll second.
okay? Any other nominations? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close nominations?
Motion to close. I'll second that.
All in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, putting the nominations to a vote, all in favor of Kathleen Herbert for chairman, say aye. Or
Aye.
raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 hours.
Thank you.
So
Now we have a nominations for vice chair,
I'd like to nominate Bill Wachowski.
I'll second that.
okay? Just so his name gets out there, I would like to nominate Matt Polson.
Okay.
I have a second on that,
I'll second.
because your time is coming. Okay, do I have a motion to close the nominations on vice chair?
Motion to close.
Second.
All right, all in favor of Bill Wachowski for vice chair, so raise your hand. Okay, I guess he's got it. Okay, now we need a secretary.
I'd like to nominate Matt Polsky.
No.
No.
Heather is secretary as we speak. How big a job is it?
with it?
It's not a very big job as long as Danielle's here.
All right, so seeing how Mr. Polsky respectfully declined the nomination, I'll vote, nominate Heather Santos.
I will second that.
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
Close.
Okay. All in favor of Heather Santos for secretary, raise your hand. All right.
Look at that,
have it, Heather.
unanimous.
Wow. I'd like to thank everyone for renominating me for chairman. I enjoy the position. I work hard at the position. And, but anyway, thank you very much. Now we have our student spotlight and our liaison reports.
Citizens comments.
Oh, citizens' comments, I skipped the line, sorry. My eyesight isn't as good as it used to be. And I just had my prescription updated, but they gave me the wrong prescription. so
Just
that's
said you
good.
worked hard.
No, they did, they gave me the wrong prescription. I have to go next Monday.
I'm gonna drive you home.
No, I could, it's not the distance, it's the middle distance. Okay, citizens' comments, any comments? We have a Zoom audience?
There is something in the chat,
There's
is
something
that
in the
anything?
chat.
That was for me, because I asked them.
All right, anybody here have a citizen's comment? State your name, address, serial number. Social security number, PIN number? Oh. Nobody's on Zoom?
We're good.
Okay, hearing none from the audience and
Heather?
seeing nobody on, they'll have a second chance anyway.
She's
Put
saying
it
no.
on.
Usually Brace has the, all the little icons for people
Yeah,
instead of us.
It's usually
Yeah,
on the gallery.
Infinity.
right.
So we can see ourselves.
Okay, here we go. We got Bill Birch. Oh, we gotta write that down too. Bill is
Then he
on
dot one.
Zoom. Usually
You
they're,
want to see their faces, right?
yeah, we see like gallery view.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, yeah,
Over the far
that
now.
that one.
Make it bigger.
And then make it full speed.
Very good. Thank you.
And Sean is now you, Tara. All right, we got anybody else? Okay. Throw it back to the Zoom audience. Anybody have a citizen's comment on Zoom? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on again to student spotlight and Turtle Rock liaison right there.
The student spotlight celebration will start again next month. And the TVHS events is on December 3rd, modern music ensemble performed at the townwide tree lake for hostels. December 5th, student council meeting was at 7 p.m. December 6th, TMHS winter concert was at 6:30 at the district auditorium. December 8th, music department performs at town bonfire. December 14th, ASB AB testing and modern music goes to on Winnie. December 15th, Fortitude progress reports come out. TSLT in service. December 16th, national anthem singers perform at Reads Across America at the Thompson Commons. December 20th, senior breakfast and TMHS music caroling. December 21st is Pride Day and early release. December 22nd to January 2nd, there's no school for students. And January 2nd, there's a professional development day for TMHS staff. And under the student voice forum, bathroom closures. Student leaders noted that the difficulty of the bathroom being closed during the first 10 and last 10 minutes of each class period, because that is when it's more likely that teachers are not
presenting new material, or when students are more often working independently. Students are seeking to minimize the amount of time the bathroom is closed for educational purposes and physical needs. Dr. Mayo agreed to try to extend the amount of time the bathrooms are open while ensuring safety for all students. And website app blocking. A student wrote in a student voice form frustrated by what the student claimed to be a number of school-appropriate apps and websites that are blocked on the school's network. Several students' leaders echoed this sentiment, asserting the need to ask tech somewhat frequently for blocking of curriculum-appropriate apps for specific content. Students are wondering if there's a way for teachers to unblock sites independently for time efficiency, or if there would be a way to ease restrictions at the high school level. Ms. Litt has reached out to the tech department for more information and will share with the students whether restrictions are there and whether or not there's any room for easing of access.
Could I ask that this website app blocking be put under old business for our next meeting, please? And also, Dr. Mayo, you're requesting extended, or you're going to try to extend the amount of time. This bathroom issue has been dragging on forever. Could we follow up on that also under old business? And depending on you two to report back to me if that is working for the students. Thank you. Because I want to come to a happy, medium here. I understand the problem up there. We can't have vaping, can't allow that. But neither should the students who aren't doing that be punished for it. So, you need to come to some kind of balance. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes of our November 13th meeting. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Make the motion.
I will second that.
Okay, and Matt seconds. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll put the motion to the floor. All in favor of approving the minutes of November 13th, 2003, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no. Any abstentions? Motion passes. The enrollment, subcommittee report. Heather.
We just had a climate and culture subcommittee meeting today, and as part of that, we reviewed 3 separate staff, family, and student surveys that were well received by the group. We'd like to put under new business a vote for those 3 surveys to be done.
Okay, all in favor of adding this to you make a motion now.
I would like to make a motion to add a vote for the climate and culture surveys for family, staff, and students.
Item B under new business.
Under new business.
Second.
Just seconds. Okay, any discussion on this? I'll put the motion to the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No. Any abstentions? No. Motion passes. Okay, I assume Heather's going to make that motion. That's the motion.
This is for that.
No, this is
No, I'm sorry, no,
Right,
wrong.
negotiations,
Yep.
yeah, right.
Yep, sorry, wrong motion. Who's going to make that motion? Yeah, that's right. We did the soccer team already.
It's on the agenda.
The NIAC accreditation recognition.
Enrollment report.
Oh, we forgot you, huh?
Yep.
for the enrollment report.
It's quick.
Mhm.
There are no changes at Mary R. Fisher this month. There are 300, actually for the last 3 months, you've maintained your enrollment. Principal Prentice, 381 students. At the middle school, we are down 2 students from 269 to 267. However, at Turtle Up Memorial High School, we are up 1 student for a grand total of 863 students district-wide. That's down 1 student from last month, which was 864. And that is our enrollment report.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
Just keep always seeing additional homeschool kind of adding to that pile. I'm just curious, do we reach out to the homeschool middle school students as they start to approach high school to maybe inform them of exciting things that might be happening at the high school to maybe reel people back in? Or do we reach out to them when there's new programs or something that might entice families to return back to the school?
We do not. Very often, we don't have accurate contact information, but it's something we can look into as a way of, informing folks of the new programs coming in, and also kind of extending an olive branch to families that maybe they left for a reason. Maybe it's time to come back and talk about that. So that's a good.
Yeah, that was.
But go ahead, Justin.
I just said, with the leaving, I get it, you're leaving to go to another state, but leaving to go to homeschool, is there any type of exit questionnaire or exit survey that we're giving these students or parents the opportunity to submit back to us to let us know why they're going to homeschool?
So I try to contact them and ask if there's something that we can do here at the district level. Sometimes parents take my call, sometimes they don't. There isn't any kind of form or formal process that we put in place. Very often, we have a form, a district form we like folks to fill out. Sometimes parents are reluctant to even fill that out and just give me the general statute about homeschooling. So it's been one of those areas that it's hard for us to track, and it's also hard for us to figure out why some of the students are leaving. If a parent does communicate with me and we try to work something out, that's always a good thing. But we can certainly attempt to make that additional outreach when they do homeschool their students. I know before anything happens at the building level, there's been a lot of communication going on with the family before the students have pulled out.
Yeah, just any light that can be shed on some of these exits to homeschool would be interesting to learn about. Whether it's, again, we might learn a lot from the climate survey that's coming out, but it would be interesting to learn. People have personal choice, and we live in America, and it's freedom to do what you want, but it'd be nice to know why they're choosing to leave our system and not our town.
I may have asked this in the past, and I know we don't have a definitive number, but do we have an idea of how many students in town are homeschooled?
So we know that what we're tracking, and Danette and April do a nice job keeping those numbers. Right now, we know that there are 81. We don't know if all 81 currently reside in Thompson, because they don't have to tell us if they move. But for the students that we've been tracking since I've come, we know that there are 81 that are homeschooled.
Okay.
Do we know how many of those are multi-children from one family? Like, if there's 5 families that have 5 kids, that's 25 out there. But
Yeah, we can look into the data on what we have on file, but remember what they give us is really minimal. And there has actually been some articles in the paper about that very issue, about the lack of being able to track homeschool students, and the state not taking a more active role in that.
yeah, I totally agree, because we had this conversation last time, where if all of a sudden, senior year, they want to come to Turtle Lot, we have to accept them, and we don't even know what levels they're at.
Correct.
Right. I blame the state of Connecticut. I can't understand the state of Connecticut, one of the highest educated states in the country.
And they don't require any testing.
Yeah.
or ongoing testing of homeschool.
or ongoing reporting.
Correct. Yeah, not testing, reporting,
Yeah.
you're right, sorry.
So there are no standards for somebody to go K through 12 for homeschool, and there's
Not in
no
Connecticut.
test to say, okay, he can read, they can read, write, nothing?
When they
Yeah,
come
just
back,
an ED,
when they come back into the system,
yeah.
obviously, we have to assess them, so we know what level the student is at.
Mhm.
If they've had a really robust homeschool program, they come in and they're able to manage the curriculum quite well.
Yeah.
But if that level of care at the home wasn't implemented, then we have a bigger problem, right? And we've had multiple families homeschool their children, then a month or two later, re-enroll, then come out again, and then re-enroll, and their learning gaps become wider and wider. And then the student comes back, they're feeling frustrated, right? They're behind. We're trying to put services in to bring them back up to grade level. When we have those kinds of situations, our biggest goal is when they first come back into school to make them feel comfortable, make them sure the family is well supported so that the back and forth doesn't happen. But we saw a lot of that after COVID, the in and out. This year, it hasn't been as much, I noticed, this year of in and out families, but the year is still young.
Right. No, I understand the in and out during and just after COVID makes sense, and readjusting kids and stuff. That makes a little sense, but to have no standards just at all, I understand, not everybody's wants their children to be exposed to public education for whatever reason, but to walk around and let a human out into society they can't read and add, potentially,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary.
I don't know if I shared that article that we received, Kathleen, with the board around homeschool, but I'll dig it out and send it back out to you. It's an interesting article to hear from the state's perspective, what's going on.
It can be a very valuable thing if you're a homeschooling parent or group. I know there's groups of parents that do it. If they're organized and do it, you can get your kids, you do field trips every day or whatever, that could be great. I get the feeling that doesn't happen in a lot of cases.
Some cases, I'm sure it does. In other cases, they're dedicated.
Yeah, and
They
it
sure are.
could be brilliant.
Yeah, but the fact that Connecticut doesn't have a curriculum that you need to work towards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good programs out
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
But the Connecticut doesn't require, that scares me.
Yep, that's.
And that's something, I'm trying to get this grassroots from our board together, and we can get it out there into the community. We've got to approach our senators and our representatives about special ed, but that could be an offshoot of it. Hey, you also need to address homeschool here in our state. But we need to focus on special ed, because we as town cannot keep bearing this cost. 100%, pretty much 100% is we're doing. We do get some reimbursement, but it's, that affects
Everything.
ramifications across the whole school, public schools.
So something Melinda said.
That's gonna be a big thing when budget season rolls around.
Something Melinda said concerns me a little bit is the in and the out, the in and the out. You said you haven't seen it as much this year. The in and the out kind of give me a feeling that there's something going on with the student and somebody else in the classroom, or the teacher, or some interaction that the student is having and the parent feels that it's more appropriate to just pull the student out than to try to work it out. You said it's not happening as much this year. I would be interested, as a Board of Education member, I'd be really interested to find out some data as to why they're leaving our school system. So even if it's a little 3-question, open answer, if they answer it, great. If not, great. But it'd be nice to, give us something.
Okay.
Even if it's unpleasant, it'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of students that suffer from anxiety, for whatever the cause of that anxiety is, but we do have multiple students with those social emotional issues, and sometimes they need to retreat home for a while until they're that are to come back to school. And we do have a couple of cases of that currently, because they're just really not ready to come back and be in school settings. So when you have a case like that, that's a different situation because that's under the umbrella of mental health, right? But having an exit set of questions and that we all ask the same questions and see if we get a response is a good thing.
Even if you get half,
Yeah.
Right.
you know? But it seems like if they're not doing any, sounds like in some of these cases, they're not doing any actual homeschooling. They're just pulling them out of school for a month because of whether it's anxiety or politics or they hate the teacher or whatever. It's almost like they're self-suspending themselves and without any educational recourse. And that's nothing we can do about it, but
In some cases, that might be true. And we take the children as they come, right? We're public education, so they come to our door and however they are with us, we move them forward. And we continue to do that. I think building a bridge with families that do have issues where it might be tentative that the children are coming to school, we do need to make sure that we're strengthening that relationship. We want our students here, so. But I think that the exit questions are a good thing.
Thank you.
So now we're at the NIAC accreditation.
Larry's.
Okay, so after several years of planning and hundreds of hours of work, the Mary R. Fisher pre-K team and the K team were accredited by the National Association of Education of Young Children. Pretty proud of the folks that were involved in that process. Two of the individuals are right here on the side of me. Of course, the incomparable Ellen Jones and the amazing Tara Brissett. Other folks that were involved in the process: Andrea Tomeo, pre-K teacher; Samantha Drobiak, pre-K teacher; Carolyn Martineau, K teacher; Amanda Jazurski, K teacher; Laura Jeffrey, K teacher; and Tina Nolan, who was a long-term sub while we were looking for a full-time K teacher, was very involved in the process as well. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Erin Peckham, kindergarten para; Elaine Gerton, kindergarten para; Amy Minkema, Kimberly Gates, and Naomi Chappelle. All three pre-K paras did a wonderful job. Like I said, probably hundreds and hundreds of hours put into this process. I'll talk a little bit about it. I'm sort of going to read verbatim, and then Ellen, feel free to chime in just to kind of give you a little background of what the NACE or NIAC accreditation process is about. So, accredited programs have met NACE's 10 standards for quality early childhood education. Mary R. Fisher, of course, is one of them. They have demonstrated that they provide a safe environment, a healthy environment for children, and they have teachers who are well-trained, have access to excellent teaching materials. Oh, it's up there. And work with a curriculum that is appropriately challenging and developmentally sound. So I can tell you if you read through that, I just challenge you, come on down, visit a kindergarten classroom, visit a pre-K classroom. You would be simply amazed at the amount of work that is involved on a day-to-day basis with these adults. They do a phenomenal job with these kids. Really, really fantastic job. The next slide there. So there are 10 standards involved. Within these 10 standards, or as a part of these 10 standards, NIAC accreditors look at pretty much 600 pieces of evidence. And I can tell you that those portfolios probably took, 50, 60 hours to put together. But quality standard number one, relationships. Hands down, our teachers have fantastic relationships with students. That's what keeps families coming back. That's what keeps the students coming back. They do a nice job. 2, curriculum is another standard. Teaching is the third standard. Assessment As a fourth, we have health, staff requirements, families, community involvement, which we really pride ourselves in the community piece. And of course, as well, just prior to that, the family piece as well. Our teachers go above and beyond trying to connect with families on a daily basis, and they really should be commended for that. The physical environment, which William Birch was involved in, and then the leadership and the management piece. So 10 quality standards, and yeah, they did a wonderful job with each and every one of them. I don't know if you want to chime in on this.
Well, I think you'll see later on that, one of we'll see, when we get to teaching, that was an issue for us.
So just below the 600 items that were assessed, we had a program observation, which the NIAC accreditation agency came in. They met with myself, they met with Samantha Drobiak. We walked them through the facility, and then the NIAC accreditors visited several different classrooms. Two of the classrooms that they happened to visit, because it's completely random, they happened to visit Tina Nolan, who was a long-term substitute teacher, and then, Laura Jeffrey, who had been here for a week. But, right, and it completely random, but I gotta tell you, because the portfolio and everything, the pre-work that was involved in this was done so crisply, we passed, we did a nice job. But I think you'll talk a little bit about what they saw at the classroom. Can you go to the next slide? So some of the, and by the way, this slide, this is all Ellen Jones's PowerPoint. Thank you very much, Ellen, for putting this together. So
I had some help from Sam.
So you'll see under the arrows 3 or 4 lines down, there's a minimum amount of criteria that teachers in classrooms and paras must have to maintain NIAC accreditation. Teachers have to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in early childhood. Paras must have 12 credits in early childhood education. All staff must complete 15 hours of PD, professional development yearly, which I believe every single one of our pre-K and K teachers and paras did. The next one was tough, but kudos to Deb Spinelli for providing the pediatric first aid and CPR opportunities for the teachers, and Ellen, right? Nice job. We had a couple of teachers toward the end that really needed to get that certification, but we were able to do that. And then finally, all of the staff has to be registered with the Office of Early Childhood Education. So.
Can I interrupt you? So this slide is really important because it really shows that pre-K and K are really a program within a program. So we're part of Thompson Public Schools, but we have our own set of criteria that we have to follow that nobody else has to. We actually have a separate handbook, pre-K and K, that has the policies and procedures that we need to be in compliance with NIAC. And then all the things that Larry just said, but I think it's really imperative that we keep the staff that we have within our programs, because we spend a lot of money and a lot of time training the staff to meet all these criteria. And then if they get just moved into another position within the school district, then we have to redo this again. We have to hire somebody and train them, or make sure that they are hired with the 12 credits. So it's really important that we keep this group of people together.
Yeah, so we obviously, unfortunately, due to budget cuts and movement, we did have a couple people that had the correct PD, they had the training, but they just shifted positions so that they were no longer within the pre-K and the K environment. So that kind of threw us off a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a deal breaker because we still had folks that were certified and had the appropriate PD, but it can be an issue.
How many people got moved? We'll say up. I don't want to make it sound like moving up. You know, how many people got changed grades?
So last year, 2 got moved out of preschool, out of kindergarten.
Okay. Plus we had somebody, or how many people left?
Well, we had the two paras that were cut.
And the 2 teachers that left.
Yeah, and 2 teachers left, and then
two
one para was kind of shifted to a different position. Let me go ahead.
We got a lot more. Can you go to the next slide? Alright. Okay, so what does NIAC accreditation do for us? Ensures that the programs are safe, well-prepared, and intentional about ensuring children's success. As a reputable indicator of quality, NIAC accreditation correlates with children's greater readiness and success in school and beyond, increased educational attainment rates, and overall healthier lifestyles. For us, we have to have NIAC accreditation in order to apply for school readiness funds. And if you look down below, it shows the funds that we received last year. The grant itself is $108,000 plus. The quality enhancement grant is $3,881. We now, for the past couple of years, have gotten an enrollment grant, which is quarterly. That is based on enrollment, obviously, and that is, last year we got $13,248, and the tuition that's collected for last year was $30,000. So that all adds up to $155 plus $1,000, which is a lot of money for a school that keeps getting their budget cut. So, and then move on to the next slide. Nope. So we're very proud of all our accomplishments, even with the obstacles facing us. We were awarded NIAC accreditation. And as Larry said too, luck of the draw, it's a computer that picks which classrooms they're going to visit, and the 2 of them were a long-term sub, and then the teacher who had been with us for 2 weeks, and they did a great job. So our lowest score, which I sort of mentioned earlier, was in teaching. We got a 72% this time, in comparison to 98 the last time we did it 5 years ago. The score it reflects the cuts made to our program. The decrease in kindergarten paras affected the ratio, which affects supervision, which leads to safety concerns or even DCF self-reports. Most importantly, decreased staff affects the quality of instruction. So hopefully we can keep that in mind, get those paras back.
So I mentioned this before, but I want to highlight it again, the K classes that were observed. That's a testament to the additional the pre-K teachers and the remaining 2 K teachers that really worked with Laura and team. Just a wonderful job prepping them for anything that could happen in the classroom, and certainly, you know, there's a few funny stories that I probably shouldn't share here during the observation, but we get a kick out of it anyway. But the last slide, you know, I want to point your attention towards this. I think some of the comments from the assessor are so important. In the pre-K observation, children were actively engaged, exhibited positive behaviors. Teacher kept all children extremely engaged in circle and center activities. I know I sound like a broken record. I wish you could see what these individuals are able to do with 3 and 4-year-olds. It's unbelievable. The consistency with which they teach, the content knowledge that they have, the relationships with the kids that they have, absolutely fantastic. Of course, you can see in the K observation, children were actively engaged, they exhibited positive behaviors, high quality adult and children interactions, and of course the center activities were highly engaging and further children learning through development and refinement of skills. And so the 2 big pieces on the bottom, the program portfolio, and actually the classroom portfolios and the program portfolios, 2 real big pieces for the assessors to come in. The assessors probably spent, I don't know, they came 2 days. So they probably spent 1 whole day on just looking at the program portfolio. Anyway, kudos, fantastic. Proud to be able to work at Vera Fisher. You absolutely will not find better teachers at the pre-K and K level please come down, please visit their classrooms. Fantastic job, unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming tonight. And just to, if you wouldn't mind, just to dovetail on the comment about staffing, I do plan to put forward to the Board of Ed to restore those kindergarten paras. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I was in kindergarten today, and I saw why. But secondly, we have a lot of children that are coming in developmentally not ready to have self-care. And so, and that just places another burden on the classroom teacher who can't manage to change a child and then also teach, right? So, and we're seeing more of children come in really not independent yet, and we have to address that.
I have a question about that. Is that like a new policy where they're not like I remember my kids went.
Well, they're supposed to be.
Yeah, like I thought you weren't allowed to send your kids unless we
Yeah,
were.
they're supposed to be potty trained.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be.
It doesn't always happen that way.
Correct.
Through the screening process, parents are asked whether or not their children are potty trained, and some say yeah, but they're kind of potty trained, and so we but the teachers do a nice job in creating consistency and opening up lines of communication with parents, but we still have kids that struggle.
Is that something you can ask you when if the waiver thing happens where we have children under the new limit or the new age group
That is part of, and I'll present that next month. That is part of the assessment that we are going to do. The kindergarten, Mary Ellen and Sam Drobiak, we've been meeting. They've picked an assessment, a portion of the Brigance that we're going to use. And there's also, the children have to go through the kindergarten screening first. And then the second part will be the assessment for the waiver if it's necessary.
Yeah.
So we're going to present that to you next month. But we've got our plans determined. It took a lot of discussion and wrapping our head around the what ifs. But I think that the assessment that Mary Ellen and Samantha Drobiak selected is a good one. It's standardized and it'll get at those kinds of issues.
Yeah, I mean, aside from like them, I just being the child and still having those, I feel bad for the kid too, because you don't want your peers to see that you're still not using the bathroom. I just feel bad,
It's just the classroom dynamic is definitely compromised because our children are coming in a little, if they haven't had a preschool experience, if they haven't had our preschool experience or any other, they're coming in with a lot of developmental delays and a lot of self-help skills that are not well developed.
And then another layer for teachers.
Correct. Yes.
Just gonna say congratulations for getting
Yes.
the accreditation. It's tough in all positions. When you hear what happens with a cut, when it comes budget time, that's where you wish all the naysayers in town were able to understand what this really impacts and how it comes forward. Especially, for us sitting on the board, it's easy, not easy, but we don't see all this side of it. I don't know, it's interesting because I don't want to speak for the new board members, but when you're building a house or whatever, you start with your foundation. You don't have a solid foundation, it's going to eventually topple off. And, I think we have to really look long and hard at how we invest in the lower grades to build that foundation. Somehow we have to convey that to our taxpayers.
I think it's really telling too, when you look at that score for the teacher standard. We went from 98% meeting that standard to 72%.
And the difference is the staffing. That's huge. And luckily, our other standard scores were high enough that our average was high.
Thank you.
Long-term substitute, is she working towards becoming a kindergarten, a full teacher now?
No,
No?
but Tina Nolan does a tremendous job.
Oh, yeah. but-
Yeah, she's not, she has no, she's not working.
Right.
She's the permanent sub at that school. So she is the internal permanent substitute teacher, so that's why Larry put her in that classroom, and she's a great person too.
Yeah.
She doesn't aspire to be a teacher.
She teaches, well, she's all over the place. The other teachers would kill us if we took her to just for kindergarten, because everybody loves her, she does such a good job. So,
Okay, she
She's
just
the
happened to be in that classroom the day of the audit.
she was
No,
there
she was
for
there,
months.
right.
She
Oh.
was there until recently, so she was there during all of the prep, and
Yep.
all, getting her classroom set up and.
That's
She did a
great
great
that she
job.
was able to do that without the, I mean, yeah,
It sounded like we lucked out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
she's
you know what
really
I'm
good.
saying?
Right, she collaborated regularly
Oh, she
with the
did,
K
yes.
team,
Yep.
planned with the K team,
Yep.
stayed after school, did everything that any certified tenured teacher.
Right.
And she was happy, thrilled that she was.
Okay. And we will move on to the administrator reports. We'll start with Dr. Mayo.
NHS toy drive ends Wednesday, any unwrapped toys, happy to drop them off. That's it for me.
Good luck, ask questions. Where do we stand with the cell phones and all that?
As always, Mr.
Same deal.
Ms. Granata?
All right, yeah, so, we donated, our school did a pajama day to, for the Children's Hospital, we raised $600. Also, we started Stop, Drop, and Read, which has been, a big hit. And, ugly sweater day coming up, the kids are looking forward to that. And one thing, as you know, we have implemented Tiger Bucks into our day, and one of our students banked 100 Tiger Bucks and was a teacher assistant with Mrs. Roy for the day, so that was really cool. So it's kind of interesting what they're doing with their Tiger Bucks. Thank you to the PTO for organizing a school night. Parents were able to go Christmas shopping, and we had over 40 kids attend, so it was great.
Mr. Prentice?
Teachers continue to meet with Patty Chenille and Lawrence Stefanski to ensure that their curriculum is in line and that they're following scope and sequence regularly. So shout out to the teachers, shout out to Patty and Laura for being there for them. Attendance team at the elementary continues to meet regularly. We reach out to parents regarding attendance, have good conversations, have open and transparent conversations with parents. The PBIS team meets regularly at the elementary school. In fact, they have just put together the December 15th, this Friday, we have cookies and cocoa with Santa. So that's our third annual time doing that. This past Friday, December 8th, we had PJ Day. Shout out to Ashley Ellsworth and Andrea Tomeo for putting that together. December 19th, we have the winter concert. Juliana George is just knocking it out of the park for a first-year music teacher, for a 21-year-old music teacher. She is just fantastic, absolutely did a great job. Of course, budgets were due to finance department on Friday, and they're welcome to Mr. Long Schultz.
Not to throw a monkey wrench into everything, but it's Christmas, I understand that. But what do we do for our non-practicing, non-Christian, non-Santa people? You're having breakfast and cocoa with Santa.
Yeah, we provide an area for them. Obviously, they can't participate, but some choose not to come to school, but some just do crafts in a classroom.
Okay, there is an alternative.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure there was, I just wanted for my own personal knowledge to know what it was.
And I'm told there are pre-K and K teachers online as well. So congratulations, guys.
Oh.
Kathleen, I forgot to ask one question. Principal Granado, the tutoring program, is that still on track? Moving forward?
Yes.
I know there's a
Great.
timeline.
Good question.
We're starting in January. We also started our grade 5 has already started tutoring after school.
We extended math lab that was very successful at the elementary. And actually during your faculty meeting, I believe, the 5th grade teachers said, well, high dosage tutoring is helping 6 through 9. We already do math lab K through 4. And the 5th grade teacher said, could we get in on math lab? And sure, we still had some funding left. And so they've started math lab in grade 5. So we hope it's as successful as the elementary. High dosage tutoring, the last update we got Friday was that they have hired 3 teachers. They need to hire 8 full-time. They had about 18 candidates they were interviewing, so they're well underway to getting those tutors hired. Michelle and Patty will be doing an orientation and getting those folks fingerprinted and going through the process of having them here. Patty Chenille has every space identified. Every student has a card and a schedule. You couldn't ask for somebody more organized than Patty Chenille to pull off the high dosage tutoring.
There was nothing else that was required from us as the board.
Oh, yeah, we're ready to go.
Nope.
Good.
Very good.
Ready to roll.
Dr. Jones.
Good evening. So of the 863 students in district, currently 204 are under special education, which is a percentage of 23.6%. Our 504s are up from 72 to 76. Out of district placement as a total for the district stayed the same. We're at 20. Bradley School Windham County is at 21. Of those 21, 9 are Thompson students. So that leaves 11 students in other placements. Those 11 students are in 7 other placements. To get those students to the other placements, we're utilizing 5 vehicles. We're currently neighboring with 6 other districts: Killingly, Sterling, Woodstock, Brooklyn, Stafford, and Plainfield. Just in terms of excess cost, this year the threshold that we would have to meet with tuition and transportation is $96,214. It's roughly the same as last year. Last year was $96,709. Last year, at first, we received 76% of anything that exceeded that threshold, and then they bumped it up to 78%. We don't have the percent for this year as of yet. And just doing a quick analysis, there's about 4 students that we would be able to capture for excess cost. Just bearing in mind the students that are in our bracket program, there's no transportation, so those students do not hit that marker. That tuition is roughly $44,000. Again, that's just tuition, no transportation. Unified basketball, first practice is January 4th. And first game is January 11th. That's away at Plainfield. And then just in terms of open positions, we're still looking for a life skills position at the high school and several paraprofessionals as well.
Thank you. Yes.
Quick question, so the $96,000,
Yes.
that's for the 20 students, right?
So any student that's out of district, right, they have to hit that threshold, you're up at 96,214 tuition and transportation. If it's that number or higher, you would get the percent of anything over that threshold.
Which is
We don't know what the percent is just yet, it hasn't been released, but I just used last year's, for example, it first came out at 76, they ended up bumping it up right beforehand to 78. Typically hovers around that, the highest I've seen it in my 5 years is 80%.
And Bill, the reimbursements on that, we get back generally March, April?
February is the first payment. Melinda and I actually just talked about this today. It was February and it was June.
May.
So we, as I mentioned, every month, our numbers so far are before any excess costs.
Correct. Okay.
Keep in mind, that's per student. Chris told me about, I just want to make sure people understand. You have to have a pretty high need student to cover the deductible, if you will, for lack of a better analogy, before you start to get reimbursed. So it's 78 to 80% of the amount above that 96.
Right, so if we spend 112,
Right.
16,000 is only what we're recouping the 78% of.
Yes.
It's not the full 112.
No, yeah.
So ideally,
Anything above and beyond.
if every student was in the Bradley program, you wouldn't have any excess costs. But the net deficit to the district would be so much more in our favor, actually, right?
So I think, right, and I get it, but again, when we write up a communication to the town, I think also understands that, okay, there's a 78 or 80%, whatever the reimbursement is, they think it's on the whole thing. It's not, it's on the difference.
Amount over 96.
Correct. So that might be something we have to communicate, is how
I
the
mean, we
reimbursements
have,
work.
I just
Yeah,
don't think
we've gone
people
over that ad
understand.
nauseum. We've
Yeah,
been
we-
very
we-
clear on
We put
that.
out a bunch of stuff about that, but people don't.
And remember, it's only 4 students right now, currently, that we would get excess cost on.
Correct, so it's not
Out
everybody.
of 204 students that have an
It's only,
IEP.
it would only be people that were transporting someplace else, right?
With high
So
tuition.
With a high
so-
tuition.
So
Right,
you have
with a high
11
tuition.
students that are transported out.
Right. Those are the only ones that
Technically
have potential.
right? But of those 10, only 4 with
Right.
tuition and
Qualified.
transportation hit it,
Yeah.
so.
And 5 or 6 years ago, how many,
5 or 6 years ago, what was the number?
what was that number of students?
I would say it would have been higher because you didn't have the Bradley
Right, so
program.
probably like
So everybody
25.
was
Yeah.
out in different placements and everybody had transportation.
Right. So we've saved the district a lot of
No
money.
millions, I think we
Right.
figured
$3
$3 million
million.
was
Almost
over
$4 million.
inception, I think,
And
yeah.
that's only gonna go up.
That's where we have
Right.
to, again, continually.
Well, as of, we had it in last year's budget presentation.
Yeah. And,
It was over $3 million, almost $4 million. And now, this year,
The vehicles aren't reimbursed, are they? No.
so. And I read your update earlier this week, Dr. Jones, that, you know, it's, you really focused on getting our students into the least restrictive environment, and we appreciate that, and it's
Safe
it's
most
the
of that.
students, yes,
Yes.
so.
Okay. Mr. Steglitz.
Last month, I had mentioned that we were seeing some positive trends, and I'm happy to report that this month they have continued. Our year-to-date spending right now is just under 7.4 million, about 36% of the budget, which is a couple percentage points better than where we were last year. Year-to-date encumbrances are also trending lower than last year, although the margin's a little bit tighter there at 12.1 million. Total projected spending at the moment is 19.5 million or 94.8% of the budget. At this point last year, we were projecting to spend around 97.3. There are currently no departments running a deficit, including pupil services. I wanted me to emphasize that point. Promised I'd stand on the table and announce it, but the insurance broker advised me against that, so. Related to results for this year, just another little tidbit, Superintendent Smith just froze the budget last week. That's actually, if I remember right, Melinda, a month or a month and a half later, maybe 2 months later than in the past.
Oh, we froze it the second week of school last year.
So really a serious effort there to try to keep this positive trend alive. A little update on the budget process, everybody's favorite topic. Finance sent around the school and department specific templates in early November. They were due on Friday. At this point, we have substantially all of them in, so thank you to everybody who compiled those templates. I know it's not a lot of fun. We're in the process of putting together the book that Melinda and I will then sit down and review, and we will be scheduling our department head meetings to pour through each individual budget before we ultimately compile the budget that goes before the board. We have the development of a new budget format and presentation underway. It had been mentioned that there was a need for a greater level of detail, specifically around what's included in each of the objects. So we've already got to work on that. Eileen Geary in the finance department has poured an incredible amount of effort into researching that and developing the definitions for each one. And what we're ultimately driving for is a tool where you could look at an object and say, what the heck is in that account? You could flip down, see exactly what's in that account, sort of the standard definition for that account. And if it's one of the accounts that has fluctuated more than others, we would also have a flux explanation in there as to why we're up in any given year. So that's underway. And the last relatively minor point, there was one change to the budget calendar that you guys approved. The public hearing date is actually March 7th, not 4th. So it's changed in the version that I had sent to you. Any questions?
Bill, last year was your first full year doing this, and I remember during budget, looking at the budgets, you had moved a lot of things around, which caused me personally a little bit of confusion. So this year, things will have been moved into their proper places, so there should be less of that?
Yes.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I'm glad you did it last year. It needed to be done, so thank you.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Same question.
And Justin had brought this up as well as I think, so will our new budget have links to show, much like the Putnam model that was?
Yes, although I would remind everybody that it appears that Putnam model is a presentation that's put together when the budget process is done. But we're trying to have a version of it so that you'll have it handy and in front of you. Just think of it as a list of each of the objects and a quick definition of what's in there for each.
Yeah, because I know like when I've seen the town budget, they often have like more explanation for each kind of line item. And I think some of the drama on certain Facebook pages that people were scrutinizing, and they saw, administration or faculty salaries, and it's this lump sum value. They said, oh my goodness, is that how much we're paying XYZ? And it was several people's salaries. And so it doesn't say for 6 full-time employees or something like that. There's some kind of further stuff to kind of
For example,
silence
in
that
our
sort of
schools,
stuff.
that particular line that you're mentioning would include both Kim and Becky.
Right.
Whereas at the high school and the elementary school, there would only be one administrator in that.
Right, but they were like doing that to several things, and I think if we just had a little more detail, I think that would silence that stuff.
That's a lot of work because we have 400 lines.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work, but
Understood.
Eileen's been chugging away at it really for about 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, she's sort of been doing it around her day job, so to speak. In addition, she's also been helping out with the templates that were distributed. We tried to automate that a little bit this year. including things like drop downs for picking account coding, for example, to try to make it easy for everyone, because the folks who are actually completing the budgets are the ones who know which account each item should land in. So, and that has worked out pretty well. I mean, there have been some hiccups. The academic world loves Google Docs, and the bean counters like Excel. A little friction there, but I'm confident the accountants are gonna come out on top.
Yes.
So every year that you make these kinds of improvements and these kinds of things is one less thing you have to do the following year because it's done and makes it easier for next year. So next year, next year Eileen can take a coffee break and.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we appreciate.
Well, you always have to tweak it.
Yeah, but it's the heavy lifting
Right,
of
right.
something like this, the heavy lifting of the formatting gets done
Exactly.
once
I mean, we
and
can't
tweaking.
Not gonna be perfect this year, but it's out there.
We're getting there,
Yeah, it's getting
21st century.
there. Any other questions for Bill? We'll move on to the next bill. He's on Zoom. Bill Birch. Yeah, Bill Birch, you out there in Zoom land? Yep, there he is.
All right, here I am. Hey, everybody. Not too much going on in the facility this past month. We have been working on upcoming projects. We had a meeting today with the apparent low bidder for the entrance project, went through some details with that. That will go to the building committee on Wednesday. Last Friday, we had a pre-bid conference for the track project. That went well. We had one bidder show up for the pre-bid conference. Those bids are due next Monday, and we'll be ready to start looking at contracts on that project. That should go out in the spring. We expect that that will be completed well before school starts next year. We probably, Melinda and I are meeting the end of this week to put the final touches on the HVAC grant so that we can get that one out to bid. And I believe that's about all I have.
That's good.
What, on our, Bill, on our oil usage, and I know we locked in a price, how are we doing with that? Are we high or low now compared to?
Well, the price we locked in for this year is, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, maybe the other bill does, but we're lower than our budgeted price last year.
Okay.
Electricity, on the other hand, we just signed a new electricity contract, and we're about 2 cents a kilowatt hour up over what we've paid for the last 5. So we're going to have a little bit more on electricity this year.
Hopefully the winter, well, we still have to buy the bulk, so it doesn't matter. The winter is mild again this year, like last year.
We're hoping for that for a lot of reasons.
I think Bill has your answer.
Oh, yes, Bill?
I was joking with Melinda and Bill that we would probably be asked the fuel question about 50 times before the budget's done, so I put it in my notes app. For 2024, we were locked in for fuel oil at $3.48 a gallon.
Mhm.
For 2025, we are locked in at $2.99. So that
I can
decision
buy
was
it
actually
cheaper at
made,
BJ's.
if I remember right, Bill, it was right when the current Israeli conflict was starting to heat up.
Mhm.
That we actually looked at prices and decided to lock in.
Okay.
So far, it's paid off.
BJ's is $2.82. We should buy it from BJ's and shrug it down.
And I'll take containers
Yeah.
and alternate weeks.
No, that's not diesel though, so. Okay, thank you. You all set, Bill? Any questions for
I
Bill?
am.
No? Okay, thank you, Bill. Heather, Ms. Burns.
Good evening.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, obviously Bryce is much better. It's been a while, but now I'm a pro, and everything that could go wrong did, so good now.
Got it.
We just replaced a server down at the town hall. Because as you know, we service the school in the town, so that was a big project that we completed last week. We closed out the setup of the new teacher evaluation system. There was a lot of back-end work that Kim and I did with that, so we're almost ready to roll that out to teachers pretty soon here. We completed installing, I had a lot of little like server projects going on. We installed our old SIS student database with Tyler. We installed a local copy on our servers, so we now have that to go back for historical purposes. That was really important that we get that done, just going back for state reporting or transcripts, anything like that. Let's see, Danette's going to be doing a couple of good state reports here. One is the Civil Rights State Report. That's a doozy. It's due in February. She's consistently doing the monthly attendance report. She usually sends that out to the administrators so that they can review that and we can catch any discrepancies. Bryce is very busy with the winter concert rehearsals. He's done a great job with the lighting. I don't know if you saw the high school concert, but that looked really great, sounded great. And our department, we're running smoothly. Bryce has taken on a lot of the networking duties. We've hired back Tyler. He is full-time so that he's kind of picking up, helping out Bryce with a lot of the Chromebook stuff. And then Tyler is also running our esports program in the high school. We're keeping that going. And we also have a high school student who comes to see us every day for one class period. So that's a great help as well.
Thank you. Questions for Michelle? You heard Heather? Okay. Michelle?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to stand up because I'm short and I'm sitting right behind Dr. Jones tonight. So we hired a new high school English teacher who will be starting on January 2nd. Mr. Granatino is coming to us from a Rhode Island school. We have two positions open, as Dr. Jones says. We have the high school life skills position as well as several paraprofessionals. The high dosage tutoring orientation is going to be January 4th. Patty Schneill and I decided on that date today, so that we'll be all set and ready for those folks to come into us. I've completed 2 exit interviews this past month, one for the exiting English teacher as well as an exiting paraprofessional. I've been handling an uptick of health insurance inquiries. Sometimes when our employees cannot get an answer from the phone numbers that they call me, and I have a couple of contacts that I've made over the last 3 years that help me get those answers quicker, or I can push them up further up the ladder to what they call their triage or their ICUs, so that we can get those answers for them. Mostly it's money related questions, but there was some issues with some prescriptions this past month. I have a lot of inquiries that always pass through my desk. A lot of them I can't talk about just because of the sensitive nature of it. But please know that Melinda has me running around with my head cut off most days. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody.
You too. Thank you. Shannon, Mr. Brower, how are we doing health-wise at the school?
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season, yeah.
There's a little bit of everything around right now.
Okay.
Definitely still a little bit of COVID floating around out there. Pretty much.
Okay.
Cold, COVID, strep, stomach bugs, but nothing extraordinary. Yeah, that's some kind of cold that people are getting. It's not COVID, I don't know. Upper respiratory stuff. But, you know, it happens.
Mr. Gila, Greg.
We're on the budget, we're good. Money goes to Chris anyways. Sorry, I know you're on the budget. budget.
You're a man down
Roy
now.
is, Roy, unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'll keep it private amongst us, but.
Right,
most
we
people
know
don't.
that, but I mean,
But as of, last night, I texted his wife and he does have his phone. I just found out recently, short time ago, so I will text him probably tomorrow, but he is communicating and his mobility is there and, just a few other things they're trying to work out and hopefully he's back.
no, but I meant, are you gonna fill that position with a temp, or
Right there.
you're gonna be a working supervisor now? You're gonna have to work?
I did that for 30 years, so. But other staff will be filling in and
Okay,
we'll be fine.
just wanna make sure we're covered.
We're good.
It's an important, division here at school. We need security in today's world. But thank you. Okay, that's it for administrators. I don't believe we have any old business this month. So the new business. First thing is the paraprofessional contract approval and food services nurses contract approval. We have a special,
I'd like to make a motion as a member of the negotiation committee. I'd like to make a motion to accept this settlement. Thompson Board of Education hereby moves to provide funding for and to otherwise accept and approve the tentative agreement reached between the Board of Education and the paraprofessionals, cafeteria, and nurses union for a successor collective bargaining agreement for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2026. Board further delegates to the board chair to sign the sign the final contract document on behalf of the board and to otherwise take the steps necessary to finalize the successor contract.
I will second that.
we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on this? Hearing no discussion, since we had a pretty comprehensive overview of it at our earlier meeting, I'll put the motion to the floor for a vote. All in favor of accepting this new contract, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no. Abstentions?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there. I'm gonna abstain because I
We're
wasn't.
gonna abstain? Okay, motion passes 8 to 10. Okay, now we have a part B, which is to approve what's the name of that company?
Panorama.
Panorama.
Yep, the 3 surveys.
Going into a contract with Panorama for the survey. I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion, Kathleen, that we enter into the contract with Panorama for the surveys in the PD portion.
Value not to exceed $8,000.
Value not to exceed 8,000. Thank you.
So I have a motion, did I have?
Second.
Second.
Michelle, what's the exact number?
$8,750. All right, $8,750. I would amend my
that
motion.
went up. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll put the motion to the floor that we enter into a contract with Panorama for a survey, for their survey services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Say no. Any abstentions? And Daniel abstains. With 8 approved, 1 abstention. Okay. I do have some correspondence. It's from Bryce. Is Bryce in there? It's for Bryce.
It's for Bryce, but they sent us a copy and I thought the board would be interested in this because
Bryce
it came
has seen
from.
this. That was my question.
Yeah.
Okay. I love the little happy face.
I know.
Okay, dear Bryce, this is from Beth Goldsmith of Thompson Together. Dear Bryce, on behalf of Thompson Together's Candidates Night Committee, I wish to thank you very much for your technical assistance in making our 2 evenings of forums featuring Thompson's candidates for important boards and commissions a success. Broadcasting on YouTube of our events provided greater exposure of candidates' positions, allowing for voters to make more informed choices. I also appreciate your last-minute response to our unusual request to find a way to incorporate Zoom into the evening for the one candidate who had a family emergency. Your quick response and flexible help tremendously, even though it ended up being unneeded. Most sincerely, Beth Goldsmith. And she attached a yellow stick-it note with a little happy face. He was very patient with this technical dinosaur.
Very nice.
Very good. All right, again, citizens' comments. Yes, Jess?
Just to pile on the accolades for Bryce, he did the TMS PTO movie night back in October. And he did a phenomenal job with that. He's always offered to jump in and help us with those type of events, which, you know, help us on field trips and the other things for the kids. So just a thanks for that.
Again, I would like to say thank you again for voting for me for chairman. I look forward to our next 2 years. We have some work to do. I'm also going to be sending you a list of the standing subcommittees. I would like volunteers, so I don't end up placing you in subcommittees that you don't want to be in. But if it boils down to that, I will. But I will be sending that out to you within the next few days. It's time to sign up for subcommittees. Okay, any citizens' comments from the Zoom audience?
Motion to adjourn.
No, hearing that.
Motion to adjourn in a second.
Okay, that's it.